We have all faced challenges and setbacks in our life, and getting back on track can be hard.
Yeah, but joining us to help us get back on track is former Suns mental skills coach and best-selling author, Coach Dar.
So, good
Thanks
morning,
for
Coach
being
Dar.
here.
How are you?
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, and we're excited to have this book. Here goes the new book right here in my hand. But what's very important about this book is about the challenges not just you have, but a lot of people have. But let's talk a little about your story, because this is very amazing. You went through 3 strokes.
I did.
And you bounced back each time. But we were saying that the last one was the hardest, but it's the hardest stroke, but the easiest way to bounce back. Why is that?
Truly. The first one was at 25, and I'd gone
Wow.
to see a chiropractor, and when they manipulated my neck, it's a risk that happens. They rip the vertebral artery. And I was an occupational therapist taking care of stroke and brain injured patients at the time that mine happened.
Wow.
So, but I didn't have the tools at 25 that I do now. So by the time the 3rd stroke happened, it was the hardest because it took away a lot of my speech, my balance, my fine motor, and I was in the middle of trying to start to write the book.
Wow.
And I couldn't do it, but I had the tools to bounce back. So I'll often say, life hits us, and if we have the tools, we just know how to bounce back faster. Not that it's not going to be hard, you'll just know how to get up faster.
All right,
Absolutely.
I was going to say, let's talk some tips about that, because that's so important. It's the mental game that we play with ourselves, isn't it?
It is. And that's the thing, you know, when you get the skills, just like when we get physically fit, we could handle the stress more. When we get mentally fit, we could handle the mental stress easier. And the first one is, the first principle, I couldn't say it any other way, but it was embrace the suck. Meaning, when it happens, we can't sugarcoat it. We don't want to sugarcoat it, but if we don't embrace it, we can't walk through it. So when you embrace it, you could start to walk through it, and then you could start to create the game plan, and then you start going from there, which is also learning how to accept feedback, how to reframe situations to see it better, and in a different light that's going to help you.
So I think it's kind of neat that you work with professional athletes and CEOs.
Yes.
And there's something that you say, and that is really checking your ego. And I think that's where you say really sets people back, is that they don't check their ego, and that really can stop them, can it?
Yes, because we get so caught up in our own head. You know, one is you're thinking too much about yourself. You're thinking about what everyone else thought instead of actually just dealing with what we have to deal with and go ahead. So much like in sports, when the play happens, after that play's done, let it go. Turn the page, go forward.
You know, I heard someone say one time, have a 5-second funeral and then move on.
Exactly.
Let it be. If you need to experience the sadness of the emotion in that moment, experience it and then move on. And so you really address things that are physical, because like you said, you've worked with athletes. So injuries, things like coming back from that, but also mental things or just circumstantial things, losing a job, having a death in the family. How would you say those things are kind of different when it comes to something being physical, something being mental?
Well, both physical or mental, whatever you're going through, you have to just see it where, again, what is it that we're dealing with? How do we handle it? How do we process it? And then I will try to say, how can we use it to learn from it and fuel us to go forward? So adversity could advance us if we allow it. In the middle of writing this book, I lost my mother and my father.
Oh my gosh.
And I really was like, gosh, I don't need more examples on bouncing back. But in doing that, I had to say, okay, I'm going to grieve as I go through this, but then I shifted it to the reframing was, how do I celebrate them? Because if I stayed in the grief too long, that's going to hold me back from stepping into what I'm supposed to be doing.
For sure.
But if I celebrate their life, which my mom's birthday is actually this week, thinking about that. So celebrating her, talking about her, it allows me to use it where, again, that pain is not holding me back, it's propelling me forward.
Absolutely.
How about in jobs? How can people propel themselves forward in jobs? And what are some tips we can do that way?
So especially if someone's been laid off, or maybe they didn't get the promotion they wanted, you have to look at it as circumstantial. Okay, if you didn't get the job or you didn't get the role that you thought, is there something that you could learn to get better at? Because maybe it's about enhancing your skill a little bit more to get that position. Maybe it was that it's time to move on and you're actually supposed to be somewhere else, because sometimes it's hard for us to close our own door.
Yeah.
Right.
So when it does it for us, it actually leads us where we're supposed to be. So again, a lot of this is reframing it to see how you could use it for good.
Wow,
I love that.
Amazing.
And so, Coach Dar, this is an amazing book. We have it here in our hands, but for everybody who wants to get it, I know you were just saying you just saw it in New York, so it's going to be everywhere.
It is.
How do we get a copy of this?
You could go to Barnes & Noble, you can go to Amazon to get it. You could go to any local bookstore and request it. Go to CoachDar.com, it's there as well, but it's in bookstores nationwide.
And you said it's also an Audible too, so you can listen to it as well.
You can.
I
I
like
love
it,
that.
so.
Thank you for having me.
Coach, thanks for being here. This
Thanks
is
for
awesome.
having me
This is very
on.
important. So there you
Thank
go.
you.
Still goes by Coach.
Yes, yes.
There you go.
She's coaching people through life, bouncing back. I love it.